Hi everyone, this is Meg Brighter, meg.2241 at Instagram and Meg Brighter at Gemini Designs on Facebook and um, well, you know where else you can find me. My brain's not working. This is my first um, solo live with StreamYard. So I'm trying this out today. I had a request for coloring these birch trees again, Horizon Line Birch Trees from Sweet November Stamps brand new clear set release. They are available for digital today, starting Saturday, Sunday, and then today is the last day to get the digital designs, which is what I used here. And I just stacked up the designs until I was happy with the layout, added the sentiment, and then printed it out on my computer. Easy peasy and beautiful. So how I started coloring this was with my birch trees first. And I used I have a list of colors here that I used. Trees, W1, W3, C1, C3, YG91, and E33 are the ones I have listed. So that's the ones I'm going to go with right over here. This is a down and dirty, quick and easy kind of coloring to do for this. And what I'm going to start with is the W1. And I'm just going to start shading the trees. Now, a lot of people will go back and forth, and I will do that. But for the initial shade of the tree, I am going to go straight down off center. My light source is going to be somewhere around here. So I'm going to go darker on the right side of the trees on the right and darker on the left side of the trees on the left. But I just want to get some easy peasy color down. So this W1, which is a fairly light color, I'm just going to streak down the side of these trees on this side. And yep, it's just exactly as I said, streak right down the side. I'm not going to be super careful about where I'm going. Now this is where I said the light was, and I'm going to switch to darker on the left side here. So I'm just going to streak in some of this dark. It's really not going to matter. You say, oh, you're covering up all the white. But I have this beautiful Sharpie paint pen that I'm going to come back in and add the white to it. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about the light at all. I don't want to go all the way to the edges of the trees, and I don't want to overdo it at all. But so just here and there, add these colors. Try to get all your trees. I know I missed some in the original, but so that was my W1. Very easy, very quick to do. Now W3 is a little bit darker, and for that I'm going to be a little more careful, but not really. So you see these dark lines here that the artist has drawn? Beautiful trees, by the way. I'm going to go underneath some of these dark lines and maybe a little further to the left and or right of. Again, not rocket science, just here and there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Under this limb, I'm going to do a little bit of shading. It's going to come over. It doesn't really, I don't want you to be too precious is what I'm trying to say. Don't be too precious with this. It's trees, it's bark. If you've seen any of these birch trees in real life, you know that the bark is kind of peely anyway. So go ahead and do what you think is appropriate for these. And again, I want to, on the right side, do the right a little darker, and on the left side, we'll do the left. So these littler trees, hey, I'm just hash marking, just kind of pouncing my pen tip, just the tip up and down. I think that's a tree hiding back there, so we're going to give it a little color. And again, I'm going to still try to go underneath those artist drawn lines, even on the little trees, just because. And this one is kind of in the middle, so we're going to go down the middle on that one mostly. Again, we're going to go over to the left more because, and I say more because I am doing it on the right because the gray is going to be everywhere, but a little more on the left on these trees here. And I'm not worrying about if I go over the lines or anything like that. This is a very, very forgiving image here. I love, love, love this image. It is so easy, so quick, so beautiful. Everybody thinks you spent millions of hours on this when actually you're just kind of hashing in some color. But it turns out so, so beautiful. I am so pleased with this image. Thank you, Amy. Beautiful. Amy Young from Sweet November Stamps. I'm crediting with the drawing. I sure hope I got that right. If it's their sister T, I don't know. I think it's Amy. Thank you, Amy, for correcting me if I am wrong. So again, just putting in some colors. You can tell I'm not being too precious with this here and there. I'm going more on the left side, especially on these tiny little trees. Okay, so even with just that, they're turning into birch trees. This is what I love about this stamp set. So, so easy. Now, I know you think of birch trees as only being white, but they're really not just white. They do have some brownish colors to them. I'm going with YG91 here. It's kind of a greeny gray, and I'm just swirling in some more color here just to get some little different colors in. And you know, it might not do a whole lot of difference here, but in the long run, it'll add just that extra layer of color that your eye will just see and believe more. This is all about what your mind processes and what your brain comes away with once you're done here. So again, just here and there, pouncing a little bit of color on these, not being too precious with it. These beautiful images really do the job for you. I get so many compliments on my coloring of these when actually it is the main artwork. And once you get these and play with them, you will see that it doesn't take a lot to get gorgeousness out of this. Okay, so that's another layer of color. Copics is all about layering color. So we're coming in with E33 now. This is the brownest color I have, and I'm just gonna here and there streak a color across just so that it has some more in these like knot hole areas. I'm just gonna put little dots. So we're just gonna get a little bit of that brown in there. And I don't know about you, but that just makes my eye see layers and layers of color. And that's what I want. Just teeny little bits of this on these other trees. Back and forth. You see that I'm going quite quickly actually, and that's because if you go too slow, it's gonna look like you drew lines. And if you go a little bit faster, it's gonna look like it's natural, like the colors happened naturally. And that's what we're all about with this scene. We want it to look natural. We want it to look like it's really birch trees in the forest. And yes, the dusk part will come in a little bit. And that's what the request really was for the dusk sky. But while I was here And doing it for the second time, well, actually the third time, because my original was already done. The second time here on film because I guess I didn't press record the first time. Well, that's what happens when you're learning something. Don't be afraid about printing off more than one of these. Because this was digital, I could just print again. Same image, same size, different size, it didn't matter. This is a third size that I have. See how realistic that gets? And I don't even have the white on here yet. So I'm going to take my C1 and just like I did with the W one, I'm just going to come over to this side and pull a little bit of more shadow in here, just so that it looks like there's a little bit more roundness to these. And again, just here, there, just to add some more color to these trees. And I know it looks like they're getting to be dark, but when you add your other colors in, this is W or C3 right now. And I'm going to just bring some shadowing in, just dragging it down, especially these bigger trees in the foreground. Your medium trees don't need a whole lot. Your farthest trees, they don't really need a whole lot either. Just here and there, as much as you feel like putting in. All to give a little bit of shape. So there is that. That's the color on the birch trees. Now this is what I think is the magic. This Sharpie water-based extra fine point. I got it on Amazon, and this is acrylic paint in here. You press the tip, you let the paint come out, and then you can color with it. I'm going to turn this just a little to the side because I want to be able to follow the shapes of the tree. So I am going to go on top of these black lines now and from the sides and just pull over. Again, I am not being precious. If I go over some of these, you know, it doesn't matter. It just looks like that's the bark on the branches. So don't be scared. Don't be precious. Don't worry about getting it just right. There's not a just right. There's what you like. Oh, there, my white's coming out a little better now. You have to press the tip on these and have it come out so that you can see it. That's what I want, to be able to see it. So I dot inside those knots. I pull from the sides a tiny bit on a curve, but I'm following those artist drawn lines on here because that is where you get your image from. That's what the artist really drew a great picture here. You want to follow it. You don't want to make it your own. You don't want to reinvent the wheel here. You want to use what she gave us and make it gorgeous. So even on these little ones, you can dot here and there if you want, just to bring them out into the foreground. And on the side ones, I don't care if I go over her black lines just a little bit, but I really want to keep what she's done because she did such a beautiful job with it. And so we're just going to come over here, bring some from the side, dot some of those knots. I'm just going to add some of this white bark back in because it's that white shaggy birch tree bark that everybody loves to see. I don't know about you guys, but I love to see it. I think it's gorgeous. I think birch trees are amazing. So again, try to stay on top of her artist drawn lines, but you know, the white comes from everywhere. It comes unevenly and it comes beautifully from all angles. So you can't really go wrong with this. Again, up those tiny branches, just bring in some of that white. You know, again, not being precious, just being sketchy here and there, bringing them in from both sides. Trying to stay on top of her artist draw lines because that's like a bump in the tree, those black lines. So you really want the light to hit the top. And this is the finest pen that I have, so you can get some really good white lines with. Again, these little ones in the back, just dot here and there. You don't need to draw a line because you're just going to go, like I go down the right side of the tree, I go down the left side of the tree. Now in this case, the right side of the tree is lighter than the left side because we already talked about the sun, where the sun was going to be. So even if you just go down the right side with the white, that's okay. You do you. This is just so freeing, so fun, so easy to do, and so gorgeous. Now see, I don't mind if I go over the edge of the lines either, the outline of the tree, because guess what? That bark kind of peels away a little bit, and you'll get those little hangers off or hangers on or whatever you want to call them on the trees. So does it matter if I get every tree? I guess it doesn't, but I try to. I like the effect of this white paint pen on there. So I really want to make sure I get the most bang for my buck out of this. So I think I got every tree. And if I didn't, you're just going to have to forgive me because this is art and it's all subjective and it's what you like, what you see. Okay, so there we go. We just painted birch trees. Didn't show good on there. That was when I first started. I must not have had my paint pen up to snuff yet. And just go back through and do some more. Not a big deal. Okay, so that was my Sharpie white acrylic paint pen. So the acrylic is going to dry. That's why you wanted to do all your colors first. You don't want to do the white acrylic paint pen and then go with your alcohol markers because you will ruin your alcohol markers. Now the sky I can do and the ground I can do because the white is all within the tree and I'm not going to hurt it. But I'm going to turn this back around. Pull that one out because I did get some of that white on there. Sorry about the bumping. So now I'm going to do the horizon line of trees. So I'm going to, my tree colors are there, but my horizon line, my sky line, are these colors. BB29, BB23, I hope you can see these, BB31, V15, R11, Y21, YR61, YR02, and YR68. I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm really doing it in sections. So like we went side to side on the birch tree, we are going to go up and down for the tree line. And I know that sounds a little odd, and we don't have a line drawn in here. So we're just going to do what we think the tree line is going to do. And I'm going to go kind of on a downhill slope. And I might do a little curve up here. I'm not quite sure how it's going to turn out. It's however I flick, it's going to turn out. But I'm going to go above the base of the tree about quarter of an inch, I'm going to guess, and I'm going to start flicking these little dark BB 29, and these are going to be like evergreen trees, and they just have to be flicks up, little flicks up here and there. It's not, again, not anything precious. We're just going to flick up, and I'm going to come downhill as I do it. So what is downhill? Well, whatever your downhill is in your brain. You want to go over the branches like I just did? Sure, go over the branches. Now we're just going to create our horizon line here. And that's kind of like a ridge, I'm gonna say. There's a ridge of trees and then it's gonna drop off. So I'm gonna start there, but it's gonna drop off. So I'm gonna bring it down. And then maybe back up. So your line's going like this, down and a little bit up. Doesn't look like trees yet, but we will get it there. So that was our BB29. Now I'm going to go to my BV23. That's my next lightest dusky purple. Dusky purple for our dusky sky. I'm just going to go where those trees are already and flick and blend up from there, just so that it gets a little bit lighter. Looks like shaded, another set of trees shaded behind there. That's exactly the look we want to go for. So it looks like a whole forest is back here. Just keep flicking, unevenly flick, but kind of go up from the trees we've already got there. So there's your next line of tree defense. We're going to go to BV31, and we're going to do the same exact thing. Flick up from that tree line. I know we said dusk sky, and we're going to get some of those orangey yellows in there too. But for right now, we're going to get our purple tree line in here. So the BB31 is actually going to end up blending a little bit in with the sky color. That's why we're going lighter and lighter here. Now I'm going to come back again with these three colors and make some of this, especially here, excuse me, more tree-like. But for now, I am going to bring in my, find it, R11 and my Y21 first. R11 is a light rosy orange. And I'm going to add that to the BV 31. Not add it to, but flick up from there until I get to where I said the sun was going to come in. Actually, I think I'm going to do it there too, but not to any great effect. And then pull up from there everywhere else. And see how it's just bringing that dusky color to the sky? That's what I like. Then I'm going to bring my Y21 in, and mostly around where I said the sun was going to be, but also over here in our ditch, we're going to do a little bit of this. Well, not a little bit, but a little more of this yellow color. And I do want to kind of bring it out a little bit to the edges. And then over here in our open ditch color sky over here, we're going to bring some of that in. I don't want it too yellow. So I have this YR61, and I'm going to come in with that a little down from the top, a little up from the bottom, and I'm going to add that orangier color right there. But while it's still wet, I want to blend it out a little bit, so I'm bringing my 0 in, and I'm saturating this area a little with that, hoping that it will blend and tone down those colors a little bit more. Coming back with my Y21 and bringing a little more of that in there just because I like a little more of my 0. And you can back and forth on that as many times as you'd like. So over here in our sky, again, that's that YR61, the light color. And I'm going to come down all the way across except right where this center of the yellow is. Everywhere else is going to get this color from the sky down to that rosy purpley color I've got going in here for the dusks. Isn't it looking pretty? I think it's looking pretty anyway. So I have a YR02, a little bit darker orange, and we're going to come down from the top again, but not quite as far. We want to see that light orange, but we want that dark to add a bit of spice to our sky. And even here, I want a little spice over here, so I'm going to come in with that and bring it in a bit. Our last orangey color is YR68, and it's a very, very bright orange. So it's going mainly to the very far left, and I'll just touch it in here at the very far right as well. Again, I want to blend those sky colors a little bit more. I'll come back through with my YR02. Darken up some of that. Blend some of that. My YR61. That's the one I want next. Yeah, that's that rosy. I don't want to go all the way down to the tree line. I still want it to look hazy, blendy in the colors. I'm getting that Y21 and coming down. Again, I'm going to come in with my 0 and kind of lighten that up. Blendy, lighty, lighten, whatever you want to call it. So it looks more skyish. I did want this pretty much white to denote the sunlight. And if you don't think your colors are blended up very well, go ahead and go over the rest with your 0 as well and just help them blend. Make sure you clean off your 0 so you don't carry that color into it. Okay, so for me, that's sky. But I want to go back to those trees a little bit. And here and there, I want to flick little side branches. They don't have to be perfect, just little, maybe evergreen looking branchy things. You've already got the pointy tree shape, so you don't have to worry about these branches really very much. But right here in the open area, I kind of wanted to make sure that they looked a little more evergreeny. So you can do that wherever you want. Just tap here and there if you want some branches or not. It's up to you. I like the look of it. But as I said over here, it's not really going to show. So up to you to do or not to do. That is the question. To do or not to do. And I think that just brings more tree-like to this. Do it if you like. Don't do it if you don't like. So on to foreground colors. And I still wanted it green, but I didn't want it too green. So I'm going to bring a couple of colors from the sky, a couple of colors from the trees, and bring them over and into this. So my colors from the sky are going to be the YR61, the peachy one that I got close to the purple. The Y21 is the yellow. G85 is my dark green. G21 is my light green. And then I'm going to pick up, I think, the two W's, W1 and W3, and that YG91 from the trees for the grass. Yep, all that is for the grass. I am going to start, oh, and my purples, the BB31, the lightest one, and the BB23, the medium one. Those are my grassy colors. So in the very back by the tree line, I'm going to come in with my darkest green, my G85, and just, I don't know, flick down from the tree line. Go over that purple and right into the tree line or the grass line here. And bring that down in flicks. Yeah, they're just uneven flicks too, just like you did for the trees, you're going to do for the grass. And then at the base of my birch trees, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flick up as if they were tendrils of grass. But back in the very back here, it's just going to be tiny little flicks because you're not going to see grass per se back here. You're just going to follow those artist drawn lines because in the back, they're going to be tiny little things. Well, that's what you want to do with the green. It's just tiny little things underneath your grass, underneath your trees, I mean, where it would be shaded more. So even into the tree here, and I'm going to aim them to be similar in size to what the artist has already drawn. And I'm going to bring it across and along too. So, because this is all my foreground here, I want it to show up more here in the foreground, even around this little dead twiggy tree. We're going to have that. And over where there's no tree here, we'll have some too. Just little tree or grass shaped flicks. I'm not being too precious with this either. It's just laying a color base down. Underneath all of the trees. I'm not too worried about shadow shapes right now. I'm just going to go over here, darken some of this a little more. I might even bring in a darker green. I'm not sure at the end of this. Then I'm going to come in with our lighter green, the G21. And again, I'm going to flick down from that, come a little lower with it, underneath the trees again some more. I'm filling in that lower, that's maybe ½ inch along the tree line here. It's going to be that dark green to the light green color. Again, in flicks, kind of denoting grass, but not quite color. And then I'm going to come along and extend some of these grass lines out from the trees. And again, I'm just in the distance. You just really want to dot and dash and not really be very precious with it. Grass is not evenly growing in a field and it's not in a straight line. So you don't want to do any of this in a straight line. You want to do lines here and there. The only part we were specific about was underneath the trees because it is going to be darker underneath the trees. So make up your grass lines here and there and pretty much everywhere. Now, sometimes I'm doing these little dots because sometimes all you're going to see is dots. But I definitely want my foreground grass to be longer, more visible, and I want the lighter color to look like it's behind the darker grass just to fill in shape some more. And yeah, it'll come out from the grass too. So, and in my world, there's a lot of white in this foreground. I'm going to leave a lot of white in there, but I do want to fill in some of the big white areas in the background. I don't want it all white back there. So that's pretty much the green for now. So I'm going to come in with my light yellow, this Y21, and underneath where that sun is, I'm going to flick some of that yellow here and there. This is a more fall scene. I don't have any leaves on my trees. You can't even see the leaves. They'd be up higher probably anyway. But I want to add some of this sky color and in here and around, just to add more realism to my colors. But I don't want it everywhere. I don't want it overtaking my green. So that's the yellow. Then I'm going to take the YR61, which is the orangier color, and just here and there flick a little of this orangey color into, because that's such a beautiful orange sky. I want it reflected in the base too, just here and there. Just enough to fool your eye that the sun is catching on some of these blades of grass as well. So just here and there. Now I'm going to come in with my YG61. This is from the tree. It's kind of here. It's kind of a gray green, I guess, a light gray green. And I'm going to come and gray down a lot of this grass in the background. So like I flicked down with my two true greens, I'm going to flick down with this gray green as well. So that will be my third color in this grassy background. And if it shows, you really want to make some hash marks this way, no, because you don't want it all to look straight down. It's okay for the trees to look like that because the trees grow pretty much like that, but grasses do not grow like that. Grasses are here, there, and everywhere. And I just want to flick some of this around the forest floor here, just to give it another color to look at. This is more of a dying grass color, I guess. That's kind of cruel to say, but I want to make sure that you see a range of colors back here. Try to flick lighter to get those tiny lines. And again, it's not rocket science. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, you just go with whatever you're putting down. And again, we're going to get a little bit more different color in the foreground here. I don't know about you, but I like that rule of 3 in colors. So use 3 different kinds of colors when I'm doing a base color. Okay, so I want my grass to be a little grayer too. Well, maybe purpley from that. So let's bring in the BV31, which is really a purple, but it looks gray when you put it over these colors. So back in the back here, I really want it darker than I want the foreground. I said I wanted a lot of white in the foreground, and I want more dark in the back. So I'm kind of bringing down that color from the trees into the grass back here. And it really grays down that green so it doesn't look too bright, too unreal. And I'm dotting here and there too, because, your grass isn't going to look perfect. You want to have some dimension in your grass. Again, this is not hard to do. This is really easy to do. Just play till you get your colors the way you like them, till it looks like it's right to you. And really, here and there is the key. Don't oversaturate one area with too much color. Bring it all to life. Now, I do want some, I'm going to say, dirtiness to this. So I'm going to bring my W1 because the outdoors isn't neat and clean. So my W1's coming in, and between these areas where I have the green, and I'm going to add some of this W just to look like it's dirt peeking through, or because as the year progresses, you're into fall, your grass is going to start laying down more. It's not going to be upright and perky like it is in the spring. It's going to come lay down a little bit more. So if you bring this gray in, dirty it up a little on the where the ground is, and that is going to look more real as well. So this is the W1, the lightest one. And then I'm going to come in with my W3 too and add some more back in the back, coming down forward a little bit, but I want it darker gray in the back, gray green. I'm not being precious with it, as you can tell. I'm not being evenly spaced or anything. I'm just adding some of that color here and there, just melding the colors of the picture together a little so that everything goes together. Because these artist drawing lines are already here. They already look beautiful. We don't want to take away from that. We just want to add to it. And I'm going from the outside the picture because when I do it, I will cut that picture down. So I'm not too precious about where those lines come from either. So I think people, that is going to do it for me. It's not perfect, which is okay with me. It's beautiful. At least I think it is. So I'll show you the finished product, the finished card that I did, and you tell me if you think they look similar. So here is the finished card. And here is the image we just did. See if you can see those together and see what you think about that. And this one looks maybe a little darker even than this one. But yeah, maybe we'll bring in a yellow. Let's see about this. Ooh, I like that. This is YR23. See this guy here? It looks a little more yellow. So let's bring in this dirty yellow and bring it down into our sky here. So it's not just orange. Yeah, I like that. I think that works. Going back with my 0 again over here. I'm gonna blend that out a little. I love my 0 marker. I don't know if anybody else does this, but I sure do like to do it. Just helps everything blend together. There. Now what do you think? Anyways, that's pretty much the process I went through for this. So you do you do the colors you want, and have fun, enjoy. Again, Sweet November stamps, Horizon Line Birch Trees. Last chance is today to get that. So enjoy your day. Thanks for watching me. I hope you color along now or maybe in the future. Those replays are awesome. So Meg Brighter at Gemini Designs and Meg.2241 on Instagram. Thank you all. Bye.